Steve, I know you have your name placard as Steve Edwards, but we all know that that's not your real last name. So Steve Cornwell informed me that your phone deletes your text messages after 30 days.
All right, guys, what's going on? Levi Trumbull reporting, coming at you from scorching hot Frederick County, Maryland. But we found a little bit of shade. Yes, we did. So in any event, you guys are about to witness something that is totally epic. So here's what you're about to see. This is a Board of Education public meeting from Frederick County, Virginia. Not Maryland, Frederick, Virginia. So, in any event, you're about to watch concerned residents redress grievances with Dr. David Savine and an individual who goes by the name of Steve Edwards. More on him in just one moment. So, as some of you know, as some of you maybe perhaps do not know, if you watch the last couple of videos that I put out, Dr. David Savine, who is now the superintendent for Washington County Public Schools in Maryland, and this guy named Steve Edwards have since relocated. They were from, working in the Frederick County, Virginia school system. Now they're working in the Washington County, Maryland school system. So they've relocated, right? But the controversies, unfortunately for these two, seem to still be here. Now, if you saw the last couple of videos I put out, you saw an angry parent talk about specifically a guy, he goes by the name of Steve Edwards.
You people sit up here, waste millions of dollars, hire people with fake names like this Steve Edwards guy who's using a stage name to conduct official business, which in the state of Maryland, if he's signing contracts and legal documents, I believe is the crime of uttering, which is a felony.
Steve Edwards is a stage name. His real name is Steve Cornwall. I did a preliminary search on the Virginia offender database. There was a response, a registered offender in the same geographic region where Mr. Edwards claims to be from.
We're going to make this very easy. We're just going to present one question here real quick. So you have working for the Washington County Public School District somebody in the Public Information Department, a guy by the name of Stephen Edwards. And what I'm trying to figure out, I should have already known by now, is whether this person, Stephen Steve Edwards, is a legitimate person. Yes or no? So I don't know at this time, but I will be calling in the school district up and until the point where I have a definitive answer to this question. So hopefully they do that sooner rather than later, because I would like to know whether in fact you have an individual who is rumored to be using a stage name, or if it's a legitimate person. If it's a legitimate person, we'll let you know. If not, we will bring you that as well. So we're going to find out if Steve Edwards is actually legitimate or not. We'll see. This gets interesting.
I FOIA requested your text messages, and Steve, I know you have your name placard as Steve Edwards, but we all know that that's not your real last name. So Steve Cornwell informed me that your phone deletes your text messages after 30 days. I anticipate you've corrected that.
I don't know Steve Edwards. I'm sure he's a good man. And using a different name is just another symptom of what is a long list of what seems to be a lack of transparency. Dr. Savine either lied or showed his incompetence in his duties by saying there was an appeals process to the mask exemptions.
You have a superintendent that is promoting racism. You have a superintendent that did not grant a single exemption from the mask mandates, whether for medical or religious beliefs. This is a direct violation of the American Disability Act and the First Amendment of our Constitution. I'm sure you've all taken an oath to uphold that. Why has no one on this board publicly asked Dr. Savine why no kids were granted an exemption? You have a superintendent that segregated children for not wearing masks. You have a superintendent that won't return emails in regards to questions about tactics used while segregating children. You have a superintendent that makes almost $250,000 a year, only $50,000 less than the superintendent of Loudoun County with 2/3 less kids. If you pass this budget, he will get paid about $2,500 more. You have a superintendent whose budgets are scrutinized by the Board of Supervisors, but fails to give breakdowns of exactly where the money is going. You have a superintendent who is using you and the taxpayers of this county as his piggy bank. Dr. Svine and his budget needs to be investigated fully, then he needs to be fired. He does not have our best interest in mind. The taxpaying citizens of this county deserve better. Thank you.
Do any of you know who it is that sits up there that's using a fake name? Mr. Sovine, I know you're listening. Now, although it's not you, you are allowing this person to gallivant around using a fake name, which says a lot about you and how transparent you are with the public. Mr. Edwards, Mr. Steve Edwards, you are not here today, but I'm going to talk to you. You owe this entire community an explanation as to why you are using a fake name. I am not sure if there's any truth to this, but I have heard from multiple people that allege Steve Edwards is using the same fake name he used when he worked in radio. If that is true, do I really need to remind you that you don't work in radio anymore?
I know there's a lot of teachers here tonight in support of Savine, but I get so many messages from teachers, because I am active on top of this issue, that are afraid to speak up. They live in fear of David Savine. They don't live in freedom around David Savine. Some of them quit, others just hide and just hope that voices like you see in the room here tonight will speak up on their behalf.
Coming to account for your actions, Mr. Hester, Dr. Savine, might gain you more traction than Dr. Savine's attempts to play Facebook fact checker. Or perhaps you're getting ready for your post-Frederick County career. Dr. Savine feels no need to account for his actions, setting a terrible example for our children. I'm sure someone will run to his defense. Oh, he can't talk about that because that's litigation. The lawsuit's not the matter here. The fact that he ran from a process server is.
You guys are a board, and this could be your CEO. And we are your shareholders, okay? Any company that you look at where a CEO has created this much division and this much trauma for them is removed. So I'm not calling on you to resign. I'm calling on all of you to do the right thing and take the first step in the direction of reuniting our community and fire this man.
Since Dr. Svine is all about posting videos of issues he has with what people are saying about his budget and sending out false statements to the Winchester Star, I'm going to take my time to point out some of his issues and false information he has spread. For everybody that worships the ground he walks on for his budget and thinks he does no wrong, I would like you to ask yourself a few questions. If he cared so much for the teachers of this county, then why are they the first ones he threatens to cut their pay or jobs? The truth is, he doesn't care about the teachers or the children of this county. He is a politician, but unfortunately, he cannot be voted in or out, although the people who keep him in office can. It is beyond time for Dr. Savine and his progressive ideology to go.
You just voted this guy's the clerk again? The guy that can't even use his real name? Steve Edwards, that's not your name. Your name is Cornwell. Look, you're smiling, you're happy.
A $240,000 plus year superintendent that has been the subject of numerous civil rights lawsuits against students and children. A superintendent that can't be bothered to look into grievances, even when asked by the chairman of this board.
When it comes to funding, I suspect the Board of Supervisors would be more receptive if the superintendent and the member at large would account for their lawless activities. It's not really helpful to your case. And the recent discoveries that employees of the school system are allowed to work under assumed names is no less distressing.
Finally, I want to say the board has been played as a puppet by Dr. Savine over the universal mask mandate for children in schools. You, Miss White, are the legs. Mr. Comstock, you are the arms. Mr. Lake, you're the head and torso. Mr. Hester, well, we'll let you figure out which one you are.